This is from my vision board, and this is from my camera roll. This is from my vision board, and this is how it manifested in real life. This picture's from my vision board, this picture's from my camera roll, and I think you get the picture. I'm about to teach you my kind of freaky good method for making vision boards that actually come true. If you are feeling, and you have felt, that you are meant for a bigger life, that you are capable of doing more and living more than you are currently doing, but that vision has just not been materializing, keep watching, because by the end of this video, you're going to be one step closer to realizing those dreams and turning them into something tangible in your real life. I frequently will put something on my vision board, completely forget that I've done that I've put it there, and then suddenly I'll remember that it's there because I've achieved it, because it's come into my real life, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this was on my vision board. I guess that makes sense. And the reason that these vision boards work so well is not because of some intangible, unexplainable magic, okay? It's because of science. And actually, I think that science is just explained magic and magic is just unexplained science, but I digress. The point is, in this situation, we have the science, we have the explanation. And I learned a lot of this science from Michelle Pelzon and her Substack, The 12th House. She always inspires me to get more intellectual about my magic practice. And recently she made a post about looking for signs and symbols. And she was talking about how images, symbols, and patterns are the first language of our brains. That is, before we had words, before we had language, we just had images. And we developed language in order to describe and explain the images that we saw in our minds or in real life. It means imagery is very instinctual for us. This is why art is so moving and symbols are so universal and compelling. So what does this mean if you're trying to manifest something? The first step of manifesting something is convincing yourself it's possible. And this can be challenging, especially if you've developed a lot of beliefs or limiting beliefs about what's possible for you, or people have repeatedly told you that what you want isn't possible for you, or you just have been trying and it hasn't been happening for you. If you haven't seen others like you getting what you want, you can leverage that power that imagery has over your brain to overcome those challenges, especially if you're finding that language doesn't work for you. For example, if you're using affirmations telling yourself you're living this life or that it's possible for you to live this life, or you're journaling yourself into believing it, trying to journal yourself into achieving it, if that's not working for you, then using images will trigger this more ancient part of your brain, the part that existed before language. You're basically bypassing the words in the language. And trust me, I'm a poet. I am a huge fan of language and the spoken word, but by skipping the word and just using images, you go back to that instinctual way of understanding and processing things, and it sort of bypasses your cognitive thinking brain and goes straight to the part that holds your emotions and holds your identity. And identity is really important in manifestation. And when I say manifestation, what I really mean is creating experiences for yourself that you have never experienced before, that you want. That's all that means to me. And this power of imagery is actually why branding and advertising is such a huge industry, because by using things like colors, textures, shape, form, I would even say sound, atmosphere, advertising firms know that they can appeal to that sort of lizardy, ancient, instinctual human part of your brain before they appeal to your logic side that's going to say something oh, I don't need that, or I have something similar, or I don't think that's going to work. Imagery can just be so much more effective than words in human communication, especially that emotional identity center. And that's why we want to use a visual medium for manifestation if possible. It's kind of a shortcut. And we just leverage that little feature of how our minds work for our own good. Okay, but that's not the only feature of our minds that we are going to leverage for our goals. We're also going to use something called confirmation bias. And the dictionary definition of confirmation bias is the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing belief or theories. Okay, so we're going to treat the act of vision board creation as choosing a bias that we want to reinforce or we want to confirm. We're picking a life that we want to live. We're building an identity that we want to embody, right? And then we're going to start to have the experiences that are on the vision board. We're going to start to go to the places. We're going to start wearing the outfits that we've chosen. And we're going to be confirming in our real life the belief that we've chosen about ourselves. And we're going to start out doing this really purposefully and intentionally. But at some point, that confirmation bias in our brains, is just how they work, is going to kick in and take over and do the confirmation bias subconsciously for us, because that's just how we work. So much so that the identities we want to create are going to become second nature to us, and it's actually going to become who we are. An identity is where those big changes stem from. I really love this diagram for understanding manifestation. Say you want to become a pop star. You can outwardly say or affirm that you are a pop star. That's probably good. You can behave as a pop star would behave, and that'll probably move you forward. You can believe that you're a pop star, and now we're really getting somewhere. But when you become a pop star, that is when things really start happening, because at that point, if you actually are at your core a pop star, it's kind of inevitable that your life starts rearranging itself around that reality. And I'm realizing now that I could talk about this probably all day, but you came here to make a vision board, so I'm gonna take us there. Okay, first things first, I prefer to vision board just for this coming season. I know people love to do a year vision board or even a 5-year vision board, and I find that to be actually quite discouraging for me personally, because if, for example, I put something on my vision board that I don't believe I can achieve very quickly, in the next couple months actually, if I put something there I believe will take me years, then seeing that thing on my vision board every single day actually kind of starts to feel oppressive to me. It creates a yearning sensation. It's almost like rubbing it in my own face that I don't have it. Whereas if I'm putting things that I want to accomplish in the next couple months, it's easier for me to assume that they will come true and already feel grateful and excited that I have them, because I will have them very shortly. So just looking at the next season ahead, or even half seasons, sometimes I'll do early spring and a late spring. And before we even open any image catalogs, we're gonna think really hard about how we want this season to feel. Feel free to journal this part out or just meditate, but I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions to help you visualize how you wanna feel, how you want the season to be, and just kind of get a vibe, okay? How do I want this season to feel? What do I want to experience? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to spend my time? What do I want my surroundings to look like, smell like, feel like? What do I want my work day to feel like? How do I want to make my income? How much work and how much income do I want? How do I want to feel in my body? How do I want to move? How do I want to eat? How do I want to care for my mental and my physical health? Who do I want to spend the season with? How often do I want to see them? And how do I want those people to feel when they're around me? How do I want to show up for them? How do I want our relationship to feel? What do I want to learn? What direction do I want to expand my mind in? What habits, rituals, or routines do I want to incorporate into my life? Where do I want to spend my money, and on what, and how do I want it to feel? What do I want to achieve, accomplish, or obtain? How do I want to spend my leisure time? When I'm looking back on this season in the future, how do I want to remember it? Okay, and those are just generally the questions that I asked and establish the energy and what I want to focus on and what I want to bring to life for the moment, just for the season. And I always hit these topics. I hit movement, style, decor, work, achievements, travel, and relationships. I just like looking at my life very holistically, and I know that one part of my life kind of feeds and affects the other, so I like to consider it all as a whole. Now we know what we want. Now we can go to Pinterest and start looking for images that represent the emotional thumbprint of these things for us. One tip I have for looking for photos that I think makes my vision boards really effective is that I pick people who have the features that I most identify with. I'm very identified with my gender as a woman and with my long dark hair and bangs. So when you're looking at my vision board, you're mostly going to see women with long dark hair. So choose images of people that you identify with, either because of physical features or just like an energy standpoint, so that when you're looking at your vision board, you almost feel like you're looking at pictures of yourself doing the things you want already. Also, I use an ad blocker for Pinterest because Pinterest ads are just out of control. Like, I think the platform is basically useless if you don't have an ad blocker on. So for my winter board, I really wanted to experience coziness, simplicity, slowing down, like moving the needle forward in my life, in my relationships, in my fitness, and my work, but in a way that just felt so cozy and warm and easy. So I'm going to show you how I found some of these images. This bedroom image is actually already on a board for my home decor inspiration. So definitely start by looking through the boards that you already have, because if you're a regular Pinterest user, you're probably already kind of vision boarding in a way by saving the things that are aspirational to you. I found this gym girl by searching cool gym outfits aesthetics because I wanted to become a gym girl, and I have. I have become a regular gym goer, but I didn't necessarily identify with the Gymshark, ripped babe, muscle mommy baddie archetype that you find when you're looking at gym aesthetic. So I was looking for something that felt more cozy, more cute, more expressive, more me. The picture of the woman with the two little girls I found just searching auntie aesthetic and scrolling quite a bit. I might have even searched auntie winter aesthetic. And from a distance, this really does look like a picture of me with my two nieces, because I knew I wanted to prioritize those relationships. And I really love being an auntie and being in that archetype, and I want to do it more. It's still very much like a big work season for me, even though I wanted to lean into this cozy, comfy, easeful vibe, and working at cute, cozy cafes is how I could envision that happening. And I'm also in a new city, and I just wanted to try all the different cafes that I can work in, so I can pick my favorite one to return to. So I really just straight up searched cafe work aesthetic, and this is just a picture someone took on their iPhone, Now I think this women omen picture came up randomly as I was scrolling, and I always like to have a couple wild cards that I can't really explain why this belongs on my vision board. I can't explain what I was trying to experience or why this fits into my vision. It just does. So definitely make space for things like that. They're kind of abstract and unexplainable, but just it fits into the emotional world, so it supports the overall vision. Then I have an image of a woman reading on her bed, because this was just literally what I was trying to manifest. This is more time spent warm, cozy, tea, reading. And once again, I think I just searched reading cozy aesthetic, and it's really funny, if you type in aesthetic after anything, when you're searching images on Pinterest, you get better images. So whatever I'm searching, I almost always add aesthetic to the end. Cooking fresh and healthy was a big priority for me this season, so I wanted to be able to visualize myself out there shopping at the farmer's market. And in general, I tried to pick a lot of images that were happening outside, because I know that's really important for my mental health in the winter, is to get outside. So that's kind of an ongoing theme in these photos, is that I'm either outside bundled up, or I'm cozy warm in bed. And then I also just have this picture of a girl painting her toenails, because it's so sweet and simple to me, and something I've been trying to do is just romanticize the mundane, because no matter how far I get on my goals, no matter how much money I make, how much I accomplish, my toenails are still gonna grow. And I'm still just gonna be a girl on the floor painting my toenails. And facing that, I think, really helps ground my vision board in reality. So I'm realizing now that this might actually be really different from other vision boards you've seen, where someone's holding a thick stack of cash, or driving a luxury car, or has a luxury bag. And my vision boards used to look like that. But when I stopped and just like got honest about what I really want and just over time kind of shed the layers of what I've been told I want or what I think I should want, I find that like what I put on my vision board is vastly different than when I started boarding. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with putting luxury on your vision board if that's what inspires you, but I also recommend choosing a few mundane things to make it feel normal and safe. Because that's another thing the vision board is doing for us, is it's making our desires feel normal and safe. These things that right now are outside of ourselves and we feel like we have to go and get them, they're unfamiliar to us. They're things we haven't experienced yet. And our brains don't love change. They like normal and safe. They're so obsessed with helping us survive. So having something on our vision board familiarizes our brain with that concept so that it doesn't feel so scary. So if, for example, you're from a small town and you want to move to New York, so you put images of New York City on your vision board. The longer that's on your vision board and the more you see it, the more kind of like normal and attainable and comfortable and familiar even that concept of being in a big city will start to feel. And when an opportunity to move there arises, you won't be as resistant to it. The fear and the self-sabotage and the avoidance will be quieter, and you may even find opportunities that you wouldn't find if you were subconsciously closed off to it because it's too unfamiliar and scary. It's actually kind of just another part of the confirmation bias, just like another side of it. And once you have a few images, you're going to go to Canva and you're going to click New Design and type in desktop wallpaper or phone wallpaper if you are not on your computer a lot. And then here in designs, there's actually all kinds of layouts you can choose from. I don't spend time designing my own, even though I'm a graphic designer. It's just not like fun and it's not where I want my creative juice to be spent. So I always just pick one that someone else made and I drag the pictures in. I pick one that I like, maybe one that like suits the color palette of the pictures that I'm choosing or reinforces the theme. Basically something pretty that I'm going to want to look at all season, because the most important part of this vision boarding process is that you put the vision board somewhere where you're going to see every single day. Otherwise, it's honestly kind of pointless. If you're not on your computers much, you may opt for a phone wallpaper layout instead. Or if you don't touch your phone or your laptop every day, that's hot. Go ahead and print it out and make a collage and put it by your bed where you wake up or by your mirror, wherever it is that you're gonna see it every single day. Vision boarding to me is so fun and so empowering because it reminds me that I am co-creating my life and that like I have a say in the matter. And the way my life goes is kind of one of my favorite long-term creative projects. It's a ritual I return to again and again and I don't have to like make myself do it. It's honestly so pleasurable for me to put these together, and it's so fun to watch them come true, usually within the season that I make them. For like this one, I made in late fall for this winter season, and since then I have become a regular gym goer. I have tried maybe 3 times as many cafes as I tried in the fall. I've gone out to see my niece on her talent show. I've created a very healthy cooking and eating routine with like meal prep. It's a whole system. I've read 2 or 3 times as many books as I did in the fall, and my whole house has taken on the cozy atmosphere that I established with this vision board. And that's it. That is the practice. I've done this every season for years now, and I'm really excited to do my spring vision board soon. If you want, please share the Canva link to your vision board in the comments so that we can all see it and comment on each other's. I think that could be really cute. So drop it in the comments, and I will see you next week.